Prepare to witness an extraordinary bond between two unlikely friends, a playful dog and a gentle deer. This heartwarming story has captured the attention of people worldwide, leaving everyone amazed by their daily interactions. In this video, we'll dive into the origins of their unique friendship and uncover the truth behind their surprising connection. Stick around as we unravel the chapters of this beautiful tale that is bound to touch your heart. It all started on a crisp, quiet morning in the countryside. The dog, a sprightly golden retriever named Max, was out in his usual stomping grounds, a sprawling backyard bordered by dense woods. Max was known in the neighborhood for his energetic demeanor and love of exploration. But that day, something unusual caught his attention. Standing at the edge of the yard, half hidden by the trees, was a young deer. The two locked eyes in a moment of frozen curiosity, and the world seemed to pause. At first, neither moved. Max tilted his head, his tail wagging cautiously, unsure whether to approach or retreat. The deer, a doe just entering adulthood, stood still, her ears perked and her large dark eyes fixed on the golden retriever. She didn't bolt as most deer might when faced with a potential predator. Instead, she seemed intrigued, as though she too were trying to decipher the intentions of this excitable creature. Max took a hesitant step forward, his paws crunching softly against the grass. The doe flinched slightly, but didn't run. Encouraged, Max lowered himself into a playful stance, his tail wagging more enthusiastically. It was a gesture familiar to every dog owner, the universal invitation to play. To everyone's amazement, the doe seemed to understand. She didn't mirror the gesture, but stayed rooted in place, her body language calm and receptive. The encounter lasted only a few minutes before the deer slowly turned and retreated back into the woods. Max, though curious, didn't chase after her. He simply stood and watched until she disappeared among the trees. When Max's owner called him inside, he came willingly, but there was an unmistakable spring in his step, as though he had experienced something extraordinary. The next morning, to everyone's surprise, the doe returned. This time, she ventured a bit closer to the yard's edge, her graceful movements deliberate and cautious. Max, already outside, noticed her immediately and bounded over, stopping short a respectful distance away. Again, he assumed his playful stance, wagging his tail furiously. The doe didn't run. Instead, she moved closer, her steps light and measured, until she stood just a few feet away from the enthusiastic dog. Day by day, their interactions grew more confident. The deer began to wander into the yard without hesitation, grazing on patches of grass while Max watched intently. Occasionally, Max would bark, not out of aggression, but seemingly to say, "Let's play." The doe would respond with small, subtle movements, a flick of her ears, a gentle stomp of her hoof, as though she were answering him in her own language. The pivotal moment came one morning when the doe, emboldened by their growing trust, broke into a playful sprint across the yard. Max, overjoyed, took off after her, not in pursuit, but in pure delight. They dashed around the yard in a game of chase, weaving between trees and leaping over logs. The sight was nothing short of magical, two animals from entirely different worlds finding common ground in their shared joy. Their initial meeting had been serendipitous, a chance encounter born of curiosity and a willingness to engage. But it was more than that. It was a rare and beautiful instance of two creatures setting aside their natural instincts and connecting in a way that defied expectations. Their story began with a simple moment of stillness, an unspoken understanding that transcended species. From that moment, a unique bond was forged, one that would continue to grow and captivate all who witnessed it. Building trust between a dog and a deer is no simple feat, especially when nature's instincts dictate that such an interaction should be fleeting, if not entirely impossible. Yet, as Max and the doe continued to encounter one another day after day, something extraordinary began to unfold. It wasn't immediate. Trust, after all, is not something built overnight. Instead, It was a gradual process, marked by small, subtle moments of understanding that slowly broke down the barriers between them. At first, their meetings were brief and cautious. The doe, whom Max's family eventually named Bella, would linger just outside the yard, carefully observing Max from a safe distance. Max, on his part, seemed to sense that his usual boisterous energy might scare her off. He would sit quietly, his head cocked in curiosity, his body language inviting but non-threatening. His tail wagged steadily, a silent assurance that he meant no harm. The turning point came one sunny afternoon when Max decided to bring an offering. Like most dogs, Max had a favorite toy, a well-worn tennis ball that he carried with him everywhere. That day, he gently placed the ball on the ground and nudged it toward Bella with his nose. The gesture was unmistakable, an invitation to play. Bella didn't immediately understand, but she didn't retreat either. She stood still, her ears flicking as she studied the odd behavior of her canine companion. Max waited patiently, his eyes bright with hope. Though Bella didn't take the ball, she took a step closer, a small but significant act of bravery. Max's owner, watching from a distance, marveled at the patience and restraint Max exhibited. It was as though the dog instinctively knew that Bella needed time to feel safe, that any sudden movement might undo the fragile connection they were beginning to build. In the following days, Max and Bella continued their delicate dance of mutual curiosity. Bella grew bolder, venturing further into the yard and staying for longer periods. Max, ever the gentle host, adapted his behavior to match her comfort level. Instead of bounding toward her in excitement, he began to approach her slowly, his body low and his movements measured. This deliberate gentleness seemed to reassure Bella, who responded by relaxing her stance and even grazing nearby while Max sat quietly watching. One remarkable moment occurred when Bella allowed Max to come within a few feet of her. It happened during one of their daily encounters, with Max lying on the grass and Bella cautiously inching closer. She stretched her neck out tentatively, her nose quivering as she sniffed the air around him. Max stayed perfectly still, his golden fur glinting in the sunlight, his tail wagging faintly as if to say, "Take your time." When Bella finally stepped back, Max didn't move to follow her, respecting the boundaries she had set. As the weeks passed, their interactions became increasingly dynamic. Bella began to mimic some of Max's behaviors, her movements reflecting a newfound sense of playfulness. She would stomp her hooves lightly on the ground, as though inviting Max to chase her. Max, thrilled by this development, would oblige, running after her with a joyful bark that echoed through the yard. Despite their difference in size and speed, they moved together with an almost choreographed grace, their playful exchanges a testament to the trust they had nurtured. Perhaps the most touching aspect of their bond was how they communicated without words. A twitch of an ear, a wag of a tail, a careful step forward, these small gestures spoke volumes. They had developed a language of their own, one rooted in patience, respect, and an innate understanding of each other's boundaries. What made their growing friendship even more remarkable was the context in which it developed. For Bella, a creature of the wild, trust was a rare and precious thing, essential for survival, but not easily given. For Max, a domesticated dog, trust came naturally, but needed to be tempered with a sensitivity to Bella's instincts. Together, they navigated the delicate balance between their worlds, creating a space where both felt safe and accepted. The process of breaking down barriers between Max and Bella was a masterclass in the power of patience and empathy. Each small step forward, each shared moment of curiosity and connection was a triumph over the instincts and fears that might have kept them apart. It was a reminder that trust is not just a gift, but a journey, one that requires time, effort, and a willingness to meet others where they are. In their journey toward friendship, Max and Bella had not only bridged the gap between their species, but had also shown everyone around them what it means to truly connect. As Max and Bella's bond deepened, their daily interactions evolved into a heartwarming ritual that seemed to capture the very essence of joy. Each morning, Bella would emerge from the woods at the edge of the yard, her graceful silhouette framed by the golden rays of dawn. Max, as if sensing her approach even before she was visible, would spring to his feet, his tail wagging furiously, ready to greet his unlikely friend. Their play sessions became a spectacle of pure delight. Bella, with her agile movements and boundless energy, would initiate the games by taking a few quick, playful bounds into the yard. Max, ever the enthusiastic participant, would respond by leaping forward in pursuit, his joyful barks echoing through the quiet morning air. Despite being from different worlds, they moved in perfect harmony, their actions synchronized as though they had been rehearsing their routines for years. One of their favorite games was a simple but exhilarating version of chase. Bella, with her natural speed and grace, would sprint across the yard in a wide arc, her hooves barely touching the ground. Max would follow, his golden fur glinting in the sunlight as he bounded after her with uncontainable excitement. Though Bella was clearly faster, she seemed to adjust her pace, slowing down just enough to let Max feel like he had a chance to catch her. Occasionally, she would pause mid-run, turning back to face Max with a playful stomp of her hoof, as if daring him to try again. The chase would often lead them to a patch of wildflowers at the far end of the yard, where Bella would stop to graze momentarily. Max, knowing this was a brief interlude and not the end of their playtime, would circle around her, sniffing the ground and wagging his tail as he waited for her to resume. Sometimes he would lie down beside her, his tongue lolling out in a happy pant, while Bella continued her grazing. These moments of quiet companionship were as touching as their playful chases, a reminder of the genuine bond they shared. Another favorite activity involved a large pile of fallen leaves that Max's owners had raked into a corner of the yard. Bella, curious about the rustling sound of the leaves, had cautiously approached the pile one morning, only to leap back in surprise when Max joyfully dove into it, sending a shower of leaves into the air. Max's antics seemed to amuse Bella, who began to mimic his behavior, nudging the pile with her nose and even kicking up small clouds of leaves with her hooves. Together, they turned the leaf pile into their personal playground, their laughter-like energy infectious to anyone who happened to watch. Over time, their games grew more creative, incorporating elements of both their worlds. Max, ever the retriever, would bring Bella his tennis ball, nudging it toward her as if inviting her to join in. While Bella never quite figured out how to fetch, she did seem to enjoy nudging the ball back toward Max with her nose, or even batting it gently with her hoof. These small interactions, though simple, were a testament to their mutual understanding and willingness to engage with each other in ways that bridged the gap between their instincts and behaviors. What was perhaps most remarkable about their playtime was the way they seemed to anticipate each other's movements and reactions. Bella, normally wary and skittish, displayed a level of trust and comfort around Max that was nothing short of extraordinary. She would leap and dart around the yard with an exuberance rarely seen in wild deer, her joy mirroring Max's in a way that suggested their connection went far deeper than mere play. Their morning rituals became a source of fascination and inspiration for the neighborhood. Max's owners often found themselves stopping whatever they were doing just to watch the duo in action, their interactions so pure and unfiltered that it was impossible not to be moved. Word spread quickly, and soon neighbors began gathering to catch a glimpse of the dog and deer's daily frolics. Some even brought their own dogs to watch, though none dared to join in the way Bella and Max did. Their bond was unique, a rare and beautiful display of interspecies friendship that seemed almost too magical to be real. For Max and Bella, though, it wasn't about impressing anyone or making a statement. Their play was a simple yet profound expression of the joy they found in each other's company. It was a reminder of the innocence and wonder that can exist when fear and prejudice are set aside, replaced instead with trust, curiosity, and the pure, unadulterated happiness of simply being together. Every day as the sun rose higher in the sky, signaling the end of their playtime, Bella would eventually retreat back into the woods. And Max, though reluctant to see her go, would stand at the edge of the yard, watching her until she disappeared among the trees. He never barked or chased after her, understanding instinctively that their time together, no matter how fleeting, was a gift to be cherished rather than clung to. And so, he would return to the house, tired but happy, his heart full from another morning spent with his unlikely best friend. Yes, as Max and Bella's friendship blossomed, their daily antics did not go unnoticed. The small, close-knit community surrounding the yard quickly became captivated by the unlikely pair. Word spread rapidly, first through curious neighbors peeking over fences, then through photos and videos shared on social media. Soon, what had started as a simple bond between a dog and a deer grew into a local phenomenon, drawing reactions from far and wide. The first ripple of attention came from the immediate neighborhood. A retired couple living next door were among the first to witness Max and Bella's playful interactions. Sitting on their porch with morning coffee, they had a front row seat to the spectacle that unfolded each day. The couple began documenting the encounters with their smartphone, capturing the chase sequences, the tender moments of rest, and even the humorous episodes, like Bella tossing leaves in the air while Max barked in encouragement. It didn't take long for these clips to find their way online. One video in particular, a short clip of Bella playfully nudging Max's tennis ball with her nose, went viral almost overnight. Within days, the video had amassed thousands of views, with commenters expressing disbelief and delight at the unusual bond. Some marveled at the animals' trust in each other, while others shared similar stories of unexpected friendships between pets and wildlife. The clip was shared widely, appearing on local news pages, animal lover forums, and even making its way to national media outlets. With their newfound fame, the yard became a gathering point for neighbors and visitors alike. People would line up along the fence with their children, hoping to catch a glimpse of the magical duo. Many brought cameras, snapping photos and recording videos to share with friends. Some brought treats for Max, while others left small piles of apples and carrots near the edge of the yard in case Bella wanted a snack. The sense of wonder that Max and Bella inspired was palpable. Their friendship seemed to bring people together in a way that few other things could. Local wildlife experts were equally intrigued. A conservationist from a nearby nature reserve visited the yard to observe the pair. She explained to curious onlookers how rare it was for a wild deer to interact so freely with a domesticated dog. Deer, she noted, are typically skittish and avoid close contact with humans and pets, but Bella's behavior suggested a unique level of trust and adaptation. The conservationist speculated that Bella might have been orphaned or separated from her herd at a young age, which could explain her openness to forging bonds outside her species. However, not everyone was immediately supportive. Some skeptics questioned whether the relationship was healthy for Bella, worried that her growing comfort around humans and dogs might put her at risk. Others raised concerns about safety, both for Bella and for other wildlife in the area. Max's owners, keenly aware of these concerns, worked closely with local wildlife experts to ensure Bella's well-being. They were careful to maintain a natural balance, making sure not to overly intervene in Bella's routines or encourage her to depend on humans for food or shelter. Despite the occasional criticism, the overwhelming response was one of awe and admiration. Max and Bella's friendship became a symbol of harmony and connection, a refreshing story of joy in a world often filled with division and conflict. The media attention continued to grow, and soon the pair were featured on a popular morning news program. Max's owners were invited to share their story, and they spoke with heartfelt emotion about the lessons their dog and his deer companion had taught them. As the story gained traction, it sparked conversations about the broader implications of such interspecies relationships. Animal behaviorists weighed in, sharing insights into how trust and play can transcend instinctual barriers. Environmentalists used the story as a platform to discuss the importance of coexistence between humans, domesticated animals, and wildlife. In classrooms, teachers shared Max and Bella's story with their students, using it to teach lessons about empathy, respect for nature, and the beauty of unexpected friendships. For the local community, Max and Bella became something of a mascot duo. The town organized a small event at the local park to celebrate their story, complete with animal-themed activities and educational booths about wildlife conservation. Proceeds from the event were donated to local animal shelters and wildlife reserves, ensuring that the joy Max and Bella brought to the community had a lasting positive impact. Neighbors, too, found themselves more connected. Strangers who might not have spoken before began sharing stories and laughs as they watched Max and Bella play. Children who had never shown much interest in nature suddenly became fascinated by wildlife, eager to learn more about deer and other animals in their area. The bond between a single dog and a single deer rippled outward, fostering a sense of community that extended far beyond the boundaries of Max's yard. As the weeks turned into months, Max and Bella's bond continued to thrive, and their influence on the community only grew stronger. People found inspiration in their story, a reminder that even in the most unexpected circumstances, friendship and understanding could blossom. For many, watching Max and Bella became a daily ritual, a source of comfort and hope in an often chaotic world. Their story was no longer just about a dog and a deer. It was a testament to the power of connection, the beauty of nature, and the magic of seeing the world through an open heart. The story of Max and Bella's friendship wasn't just about two animals. It was about something much larger. Their bond spoke to universal truths about connection, trust, and the unexpected beauty that arises when we open our hearts to the unfamiliar. As their relationship continued to captivate the community and beyond, people began reflecting on the deeper lessons their story offered. One of the most profound lessons was the idea of coexistence. Max and Bella came from completely different worlds. One was a domesticated pet, raised in comfort and safety, while the other was a wild animal, shaped by instincts and survival. Yet, they found common ground in their mutual curiosity and willingness to trust. Their ability to form a bond despite their differences served as a poignant reminder of the potential for harmony between even the most unlikely pairs. This lesson was particularly resonant for the community, which had its own history of diverse backgrounds and perspectives. Seeing Max and Bella's friendship inspired many to think about their relationships with others, how they interacted with neighbors, colleagues, and even strangers. The duo became a living metaphor for the idea that, despite differences in culture, background, or beliefs, commonalities can be found and celebrated. Max and Bella also taught the value of patience and understanding. Their bond didn't happen overnight. It grew slowly, built on countless small moments of trust and connection. Bella, naturally cautious as a wild animal, had to overcome her instincts and fears, while Max had to learn to temper his boundless energy and approach her with gentleness. This dynamic mirrored the process of building relationships in the human world, where trust is often fragile and must be nurtured over time. For parents, Max and Bella's story became an example to share with their children. Families would gather by the yard to watch the pair play, using the experience as an opportunity to talk about empathy and respect for all living beings. Children, fascinated by the idea of a dog and a deer becoming friends, asked questions about wildlife, nature, and the importance of treating animals with kindness. Schools even incorporated the story into lessons about ecosystems and interspecies interactions, sparking a newfound appreciation for the natural world among students. Another lesson that emerged was the importance of play and joy, no matter the circumstances. In a world often filled with stress and challenges, watching Max and Bella's carefree frolics served as a powerful reminder of the simple pleasures in life. Their playful chases and quiet moments of companionship illustrated that joy can be found in the most unexpected places, often requiring nothing more than an open heart and a willingness to engage with the world. Max and Bella's bond also highlighted the interconnectedness of all life. While humans often see themselves as separate from nature, the friendship between a dog and a deer blurred these boundaries. It reminded people that we are all part of the same web of existence, capable of forming meaningful relationships across species. This realization sparked deeper conversations about conservation and the role humans play in protecting the natural world. If a dog and a deer could coexist so harmoniously, people reasoned, perhaps humans could do a better job of living in balance with wildlife. Their story even inspired practical changes in the community. Bella's presence prompted discussions about creating safer spaces for wildlife, such as reducing traffic speeds in areas near the woods and preserving natural habitats. Max's owners became more conscious of their impact on the environment, ensuring that their yard remained a safe and welcoming place, not just for Bella, but for other animals as well. Neighbors, too, started taking small steps to support local wildlife, from planting native flowers to providing fresh water sources during dry spells. On a broader level, Max and Bella's friendship encouraged people to think differently about relationships and the possibilities they hold. In a time when divisions often seem to dominate the headlines, their story served as a beacon of hope, showing that connections can be formed even in the most unlikely circumstances. It was a reminder that differences don't have to be obstacles. They can be opportunities for growth, learning, and discovery. For many, the story of Max and Bella became a personal source of inspiration. People shared how watching the duo helped them approach their own lives with more patience, compassion, and openness. Some found the courage to mend broken relationships, while others sought to connect with those they might have otherwise overlooked. The ripple effects of Max and Bella's bond extended far beyond their yard, touching the hearts of people they would never meet. In the end, Max and Bella's friendship was about more than just a dog and a deer. It was about breaking down barriers, finding joy in the everyday, and embracing the unexpected connections that make life so extraordinary. Their story became a testament to the power of kindness and the beauty of nature, reminding everyone who heard it that sometimes the most profound lessons come from the simplest of moments.